In this class, we'll study about a very important topic, that is HTML DOM. So what is HTML DOM and what can we do with the HTML DOM? Okay, so DOM stands for Document Object Model. Okay, so when the page loads, the browser creates a document object model of the page. Means a layout actually. You can say in other language a layout of the page. Okay, so what can we do with the HTML DOM? So we can access and change all the elements of an HTML document with our HTML DOM. Okay, so basically it's the standard for accessing documents. Okay, so with the help of HTML DOM we can access and change the HTML documents, like we can change the styles of the particular elements, or we can change the content of the HTML elements. Okay, so these things we can perform with the DOM elements. Okay, now next we'll see about some of the methods or properties of the HTML DOM. Okay, so first we'll know what is a property over here. So a property is basically a value that you can get or set. Like here, when we go to our index page, so this document dot get element by id dot inner HTML. So this comes under the HTML DOM. So this, what is a property? Basically, it is a value that we can set or get. So here we are setting the HTML. Okay, so this is a property actually. So here we are setting the content. So here, when suppose I'll take another example over here. Suppose we are adding something into this paragraph, okay, with the help of dot inner HTML. So we are setting something to this paragraph. So this inner HTML comes under the property, okay. And what is a method? So a method is an action that you can do, like adding or deleting. So this is that, suppose this get element by ID. So this is basically a method. Sorry, this is a property and this is the method. Okay, so I'm getting the element. Okay, like get element by id, we are getting this id over here, para. So this comes under the method and this comes under the property over here. So we can access the contents using this inner HTML property. Okay, one is inner text and one is inner HTML. So we'll first talk about inner HTML. So we have discussed previously that with the help of inner HTML we are adding something into this paragraph. Okay, with the help of get element by id, means this is a method actually. Okay, so we are targeting this paragraph over here, and then we are adding this particular value to this paragraph over here. Now we'll create another file over here, index 19.js. Here we'll understand the more methods of DOM. Okay, means document object model. Okay, so here I will write DOM over here. Our topic is HTML DOM actually. Okay, HTML DOM. So basically three methods are provided by the DOM. Okay, so first is document dot get element by id. First is the get element by id. I will just comment this out. Element by id. Okay, this is the first method. Second is get elements by tag name. This is the second method. The third is get elements by class name. Okay, so these are the three methods that the DOM provides. Okay, so always keep in mind, here you can see this is get element. Okay, this get element by id, and here in this get elements are there, get elements by tag name over here. So here s is additional. Okay, and inside this get elements by class name, here also s is additional. Okay, so here in tag name and class name elements are there, not a single element over here. Okay. So how do we add? Here we have seen how to add something with the help of get element by id. Now we'll use get elements by tag name and get elements by class name. So we'll perform some uh, operations over here. So what we'll do is we'll go to our index 17. Suppose here I will remove all this, and now what I'll do is we'll not use get element by id. We'll use get elements by. Here you can see all the methods are coming. So we'll choose get elements by tag name. Okay. So we'll use this, and we'll have to provide the particular tag. So in the index.html, suppose we are targeting this p. Suppose I will remove this as h2. Okay, like this. And so here one p is there, so it will target only this over here. So I will just provide p over here. Okay, like this. So it is, we are targeting the paragraph over here. Now what we'll do is we'll target this particular p over here. Okay, so suppose I will write here. Okay, in our here first we'll do is get elements by tag name. Okay, here I will paste it over here, and inside this I'll write that particular code. Suppose here I will use variable x equals to 10 plus 20, like this. So we are just adding two numbers over here. Okay, so now we'll target that this particular this particular p over here. Okay, with the help of get elements by tag name method. So here what we'll do is we'll use document dot get elements by tag name, like this, and here we'll target p. Okay, like this, and we'll store it in any variable, suppose y, like this. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll start with a simple example over here. So first here we'll just comment this out over here, and now what we'll do is we'll take multiple paragraphs over here. Okay, so I'll just what I will do is I will just put multiple paragraphs, and I will write something hello, or para 1. I'll simply copy it. Okay, like this. So now we have 4 paragraphs, actually 5 paragraphs. Okay, so here we are giving an id of para over here. Okay, so we have 4 paragraphs over here. So what we want is we want to target the, suppose we want to target this first para. We want to output this para 1 inside this para over here. Okay, inside here, like this. Okay, so we want to dynamically output this para 1, this paragraph text inside this para id. Okay, inside this para. Okay, so we are first targeting that particular paragraph. Okay, so we are here, from here we are targeting all the paragraphs over here. Okay, so we are targeting document.getElements by tag name, and we are giving a p. That means it will select all the paragraphs over here. Okay, now what I will do is I want to output inside this particular para. Okay, this paragraph. Okay, that has an id of para. So we'll target with the help of id now. Okay, so we'll write document dot get element by id. Okay, and now we'll give para over here because we want to output it inside this paragraph, and now we'll use inner HTML like we have used previously. And now what I will do is we'll first store this document.getElement by tag name in a variable over here. Okay, suppose variable x equals to document.getElements by tag name. So this paragraph is stored inside this x variable. Okay, so these all the 5 paragraphs are stored inside this X variable now. Okay, so when we talk about tag name or class name, when the output when the output come, it comes in a list form actually. Okay, so here it will come in a list form actually, node list form. Okay, so we have to access the first element in that node list. Okay, so how can we access? So we have all the paragraph inside this X over here. So what we want is we want to access the first, suppose the first paragraph. So we'll simply use the index of the first, that is the 0 index. Okay, and then we will, what we want is we want that particular this para 1. Okay, that is inside this paragraph. Okay, so we have paragraph, all the paragraphs, okay, inside this X variable over here. Now with the help of X 0 index, we are targeting this paragraph, whole paragraph here. Now what we want is we want to access this value over here, para 1 value. So how can we do that? So we can use dot inner HTML property. Okay, like this. So this means we are accessing that particular para 1 text over here. Okay, again I will uh, tell you, like, first what we are doing is we are targeting the para. Okay, all the paragraphs. Okay, here we are targeting get elements by, with the help of get elements by tag name. Okay, so when we are using the get elements by tag name property or method, actually sorry, get elements by tag name method, so we get the result in a node list form. Okay, when we are using get element by id, we are getting a single value. Okay, but when we'll use get element by tag name or get elements by class name, you will get a node list, because here you can see we are using get elements. Okay, so more than one element will come in our result. Okay, so here in our X variable all the paragraphs are coming. Okay, so we have to target this first paragraph, suppose. Okay, so with the help of this 0th index, that means the first paragraph, we will target that particular first paragraph with the 0 index. And now what we want is we want to access the text inside this paragraph over here. Okay, so how can we do that? We can access that particular text with the help of dot inner HTML property, like this. So now we are targeting para 1, that is the text inside the first paragraph. Okay, so let's check our result. So what we'll do is we'll just like here what we'll do is here I will, so here we are writing our code in our index 70, so index 17, but we are having this particular code inside index 19. Okay, so I'll just copy this, cut paste over here. Okay, so now what we are doing is we are just storing that particular value and outputting that particular value inside this para. Okay, so first we have to change the path to index19.js, and now let's check our result. So I'll just refresh the page. Okay, so we are getting our para 1, para 2, para 3, para 4, para 1. Okay, so we are targeting actually all the paragraphs here. So let me check what is the problem over here. Here notice one more thing, that like here we have para 1 over here. Okay, so inside this paragraph we have para 1, para 2, para 3, para 4. Okay, so but this paragraph, this fifth paragraph, we have empty paragraph, and here we can see it is outputting para 1. So we have inserted this particular para 1 inside this paragraph. Okay, but we are outputting all the values here. Okay, so we'll check where we are getting the error. Okay, So we'll first check whether we are targeting this particular paragraph or not. Okay, so we'll just console log like this, and here I will check x0, means we'll check if this paragraph is target target has the target or not. Okay, so we'll simply save it and we'll open our inspector and we'll refresh it. So we are targeting this particular para 1 here. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll just output dot inner HTML like this and see whether our result is coming or not. So we are getting our para 1 over here. Okay, so here we are having our para 1. Okay, so we are outputting this para 1 over here. Okay, so this is coming from HTML and this is coming from JavaScript over here. Okay, so we can check like this inside our console log. So what we have checked first we have checked that whether it is targeting our first paragraph or not. Then we are extracting the text inside that particular paragraph with the help of inner HTML. Okay, so we are outputting that this particular result with the help of JavaScript, and these four paragraphs are coming from index.html. Okay, from here over here. Okay, so this in this way we can use our get elements by tag name. So it targets this paragraph over here. Okay, all the tag names, whether it is paragraph or h1 or h2 or any tag name. Okay, okay, so you can, here I'm targeting the paragraph, so you can target any tag names. Okay, and always keep in mind that the get elements by tag name and get elements by class name always gives the result in node list form. Okay, it does not give a single value, so you have to always give the index position in order to access that particular value. Suppose here I will use 2. Okay, and let's check the result. Now you can see we are getting para 3 over here because the the second index is this one, 0, 1 and 2. Okay, so the second index is para 3, so we are outputting that particular value inside the para id. Okay, so in this way we can use the get elements by class name, sorry, tag name. Okay, now we'll use get elements by tag name, sorry, class name. So now we'll take the same example as we have done in this get elements by tag name. Okay, so we'll simply copy it and paste it here. Okay, we'll just comment this out, and what we have to do is now we have to target by class name. Okay, so we'll just use our class name method, and here I have to mention the class name. Okay, so suppose if here I will give p class equals to para 1 like this. Okay, so now we have to target this para 1. Okay, so para 1, so what we are doing is we are targeting this class. Okay, this p class, para 1 class, and we are just storing it inside this x. Okay, now here if we suppose we want to output this like this over here. Okay, so here what we are doing is we are just outputting the x. Okay, we are just outputting the value of this paragraph, that is para 1 over here. Okay, we are not using index over here. And now let's check what is the result. Now when we click onto this, so we are getting undefined. So I've said you earlier that this class name and tag name actually when the result comes, so this gives us a node list. Okay, so we have to access. Suppose what we'll do is we'll just console log the x over here. Okay, for just checking what is the result. Okay, so now we will refresh. So it is coming HTML collection p.para1. Okay, so here you can see it is coming p.para1 because here we have our p tag, and inside that we have our class name, that is para1. Okay, so it is giving us this whole thing. Okay, so in order to access the first, suppose we have to use our index. Okay, so it will give us the first value over here. Okay, so let us refresh. So now it is giving us para 1. Okay, now here if we use 1 over here, and now let's check the result. So it will not give us anything because we have only one class, that is para 1. We have only one para 1 class. Okay, here, and we are targeting the second para 1 class. Okay, here you can see we are targeting this para 1 class. Okay, and storing it inside this x variable. Okay, and here what we are doing is we are outputting the second para 1 class, but we have only one para 1 class. Okay, here you can see we have only one para 1 class. Okay, and here we are we want to output the text that is inside the second para 1 class. Suppose if I will what I will do is I will mention the same class over here. Just a minute. Class equals to para 1. Okay, so we have now two classes by the name of para 1. So we are accessing the second para 1 class, the text inside the second para 1 class. Now when we refresh it, we will get a value. Okay, that is para 2. Okay, so here you can see we have para 2 here. So we are accessing the second para 1 class. Okay, so here when we are console logging the x, you can see it is coming node list. Okay, so at the 0 index p dot para 1 means the first para is inside this 0 index, and then the second para 1 is inside this first index. Okay, so even if we don't have this para 1 class, okay, like this, then also you have to use this index position over here. Okay, because the result that comes is in the node list form. Okay, so you have to use the array, so you have to access the that particular element by using this array form. Okay, by using the index position. Okay, so always when you are using tag name or class name, always use this index position in order to extract the value. Okay, here you can see we have now two values. When we refresh it, we'll get only one value by the name of para1. Okay, so you can also mention all the classes in all the paragraphs. Okay, so you will get 5 para1 classes, and you can access the first, second, all the first, second, third, fourth text that is inside that particular para1 class. Okay, so these are the three these are the three methods that our HTML DOM provides. That is get element by ID in order to access the element by its ID. Then we have get elements by tag name by accessing the by getting the elements by its tag name, and get elements by class name by getting the elements by its class. Okay, class name. Now we'll study about two more methods. Okay, that is one is query selector and one is query selector all. Okay, so it is same as this get element by ID, get elements by tag name, and get elements by class name. Okay, so first of all we'll use our query selector. Okay, So what we want is it simply copy this whole thing over here and we'll simply convert it into this query selector form. Okay, so what we want is we want to target, suppose, this para1 class. Okay, so you can directly, if suppose I want to target by its class name. Okay, so we can target by its class, we'll target by its class name by using document dot query selector. Okay, so you can see inside this method we have our query selector, and now if we want to access the class, okay, so when we are writing CSS, you will notice for class name we provide a dot. Okay, so in the same way, when we will target a class, we will use a dot sign over here, and when we target a particular ID, then we'll target it by a hash. Okay, so here I will target this para1 class. Okay, so it is a class, so we will target it by a dot. So we are targeting para1, okay, over here, and here we are storing it inside this x variable. Now what we'll do, will not, this result don't come in node list form. Okay, so we'll simply output the result. Okay, so first we'll check, we'll just console log this. Okay, this particular x over here. Okay, we'll just comment this out over here. Okay, so what we are doing is we are just targeting this paragraph over here by the help of query selector using this class. Okay, so we are writing document.query selector and we have to target the class, so we are using a dot and we are console logging the result. So here we'll refresh it, so you can see we are getting p class equals to para1. Okay, so we are targeting this whole thing over here. Okay, so what we want is access we want access to this text over here. So how can we do that? So what we will do is we can use, like here also we can use document dot query selector, and now here we have our ID. Okay, so we want to target this ID. Okay, so how can we target that ID? By using the query selector, we'll simply use a hash sign over here and then the ID name, that is para, like this. So here we are targeting the class by using a dot, and here we are targeting an ID by using a hash. Okay, so we are doing it in the same way, just we are adding query selector and then we are adding an ID. Okay, that is para. Okay, and we are storing this result here in this paragraph. Okay, so simply save it and let's see what is the result. So we are getting para1 over here. Okay, so we are outputting this particular result inside this para. Okay, so here we are using the query selector, so you can target both the classes and ID. Okay, by using this query selector, just you have to use this dot for class name and hash for an ID. Okay, so this is the case for query selector. Now we'll see query selector all. Okay, so like we'll just copy this same thing and we'll paste it here. So what is the difference between query selector and query selector all? Okay, so first we'll use query selector all method over here, and now suppose here what we'll do is we will add this class. Okay, in here. Okay, so we are accessing two classes in two different places. Okay, the same class in two different places. Okay, and here what I will do is like will access both. When we access this class name by its class name, it will access both the values over here. Okay, so what we'll do is we are targeting query selector all, and then we are using targeting this para1 over here, and you will see we have para1 in both the places. Okay, so we'll just save it, and now we'll first console log this particular x over here. Okay, and let's see what is the result. So here you can see we are getting node list. Okay, that is in the first case we are getting para1, and the second case we are getting the second para1. Okay, so whenever we are using this query selector all, this gives the result in the node list form. In the previous cases we are getting the node list form in the tag name and the class name. Okay, so in the same way we'll get a node list in a query selector all. Okay, all means it will target all the classes. Okay, so we'll get our node list. Okay, so how we will target that particular result. Okay, means like the first para1. Okay, so what we are doing here is we are just using the index over here. So we'll do it in the same way. We'll just target that particular paragraph, and just we'll use that particular index. Okay, like this. So in the same way as we are doing it previously, here we are accessing the first index position. Okay, here you can see this first is inside this 0, means it is the first index position, and this is the second index position. Okay, so we are accessing the first value over here, so we will put the index as 0. So we will simply save it and refresh it. So you will see here we are getting para1, that is the first value. Okay, now here when we change it to 1, we'll get our result as para2 over here. Okay, so it will give us this para2 over here. Okay, so the query selector and the query selector all, the difference is that query selector all gives us the node list. Okay, the result is coming in a node list form, whereas in a query selector it is not coming in a node list form. Actually it is coming a single value. Okay, a single value is coming. So here we are targeting only one value, and here we are targeting more than one value. Okay, suppose here we have like more than the, like here we'll use, not use here. Okay, we'll just cut paste here and use here. Okay, so we have the same classes in two different places, so you can use this query selector all in these cases. Okay, when you have the same class. Okay, when you have the same class in two different positions, so you can use this query selector all method over here. Okay, and you can target by particular index. Now we will discuss about more of the methods and properties. Okay, some of the more methods and properties. So here we have discussed about get element by id, get elements by tag name, class, get elements by class name, query selector and query selector or. So now we'll use our set attribute method. Okay, set attribute method. Okay, so now what are attributes? So attributes are basically used like here when we are using this tag here when we are using class. Okay, when after tag, when we are using some tags over here. Okay, so after that particular tag we are using something. Okay, here we are using class. Okay, so this is the attribute or attribute. Okay, this is called attribute. Suppose in this input fields here when we are using type, so this is the attribute of this input fields. Okay, so these are called attributes, means that indicates gives a description about that particular tag. Okay, so you can basically define it as in attributes are the elements that defines the tags. Okay, so like here first we'll use our set attribute method. So how can we use this? So what we want is here suppose like I'm targeting this class over here. So this is the attribute. Okay. So we can, what does the set attribute means? We can set the attribute dynamically. Means in from here, in from JavaScript, we can change this class over here. Okay. We can change the class. Suppose, like I will give you an example over here. Suppose we will target this particular para2 over here. Okay. So we are not having any attribute inside this para tag. Okay, so we will include a class. Okay, means we'll include an attribute class. Okay, so class is an attribute, so we'll add it dynamically. Okay, so we'll target document dot get element by tag name. So we are using, we are targeting this paragraph over here. Okay, so we are using document dot get elements by tag name. Okay, so we'll target P like this. Okay, now we want to target the first one. Okay, the second position means the second index position. Okay, so we'll mention 1 over here because the 0 is the first and 1 is the second. Okay, so we want to access this paragraph over here. Okay, so we want to add a class inside this para. Okay, this paragraph p tag. So here we'll use dot set attribute. Okay, so here you can see the Java, this VS Code gives us certain methods. So we can use set attribute method over here, and here what we will do is we have to first give the name of the attribute that you want to mention. So here I will put class. So I have to set a class inside that p tag. So first we will use that particular attribute, that is class. So here we are providing the class name. So here we are providing the attribute name, that is class, and here I will provide a value, means the class name. So here the class name is para1 actually. Okay, so we have to provide a value, means that particular name of the class. So here the value indicates the name of the class. So suppose here I will use like bg color. Okay, so I'm choosing a random text. Okay, so I'm taking a bg color class name. Okay, so here I suppose here, like when we are targeting this, we are inserting this class name. Okay, this class inside this para p tag. Okay, second p tag. Okay, so in order to show it, in order to output it, what we'll do is like here. So in order to see whether we have applied this bg color class into this p tag over here, so here what we'll do is we'll give a styling. Okay, suppose use a styling over here, and I will provide a dot bg color as background color as red, suppose. Okay, so what we are doing is we are giving a styling to this bg color over here to understand whether this para2 has that particular class or not. Okay, so let's save it and refresh this. So you are seeing here we have our red background color inside this para2 because we have added this particular class and this particular class name into this para2 over here. Okay, so we are not doing it in HTML, we are adding it dynamically by the JavaScript. Okay, by the help of JavaScript. So here you can see we are targeting, first we are targeting the para p tag. Okay, so here we have 5p tags. Okay, so I want to access this second paragraph over here. Okay, so here by the help of indexing, here we are getting the second p tag. Okay, by using the index position. Okay, so we are mentioning 1 over here, means we are accessing the second p tag. Okay, then we are setting the attribute. Okay, which attribute? Class attribute over here. You can see the class attribute over here, and we are providing the name of that class as bg color over here. Okay, so this is the particular class of this particular p tag. Okay, so it can be written like this over here. If we'll write it in index.html, class equals to bg color, like this. So when we'll write in HTML, so it will be written like this. Okay, so here you can see I will remove this. So I've added it dynamically. Okay, so let's see in our elements. Okay, so we'll go to our p tag over here. So here you can see, so this is the particular p tag. Okay, so we have removed the HTML from here. So we have removed the class over here, and when now we'll refresh. So here you can see we are adding p class equals to bg color dynamically. Okay, by the help of JavaScript. Okay, so here you can see it is showing it in the same way that we have written here. Okay, we have previously written here like this only. So we are adding this particular attribute, class attribute, and we are giving the value as bg color. Okay, so this is the way of adding an attribute dynamically to any element. Okay, so I'll take one more example. Okay, so I'll just comment this out. I'll just copy paste it. Okay, so now what we'll do is we will target this one input over here. Okay, suppose any input I'll take. Suppose I will take this input over here and I will paste it over here. Okay, I'll just remove the required over here. So what you want, I'll just also remove this type over here. Okay, so it dynamically add that particular attribute type. Okay, so we'll target that particular input. Okay, so input like this. So we are targeting by the tag name. So here you can see no more inputs are there. So then also we have to give the index position as 0 because the tag name provides a node list. Okay, so we have to access the first value, so we'll give the 0th index. And what we want is we want to set the attribute. Which attribute? We want to set the type attribute. Okay, here we have our we don't have our type attribute. Okay, so we'll use our type attribute, and what we'll do is we'll remove this and we'll set the value as button. Okay, so what we are doing is we are setting the type as button. Okay, so when we save, when we will see this, okay, the result of this input box over here. So here you can see, refresh, so it is coming as input box, a normal input box. Okay, so this is the normal input box, and here what we are doing is we are changing the type of that particular input box as a button. Okay, so this is the button, means type equals to button, like type equals to text, type equals to number. So in the same way we'll use a button, means the value of type will be button. So we'll save it and we'll check what is the result. So you can see now the input box has been changed to a button. Okay, so we are dynamically adding the type as button in our input field over here. Okay, so you can also check from here, you can see, so we have our type as button now. Okay, so we are doing all this in a dynamic way. Okay, we are doing this with the help of JavaScript. So this is the actually the fifth method over here. Okay, actually if 3 for sixth, this is set attributes is the sixth method that DOM provides us. So here we have seen how can we set an attribute inside a particular tag. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll study how can we change the value of a particular attribute. Suppose here we have class as, like, here you can see we have class as para1. So how can we change this? Okay, dynamically. Okay, how can we change it to any other class name? Okay, so we'll now do that. Okay, so here I will do, like, what I will do is I will use this p class equals to bg color over here. Okay, sorry, like this. So we have our para2 as, we have our class name in our p, the second p tag as bg color. Okay, so what we want is we want to change this para1. Okay, we will change this para1 as bg color. Okay, now when we will save it, you can see in our second para, this para2, this background color red is coming. Okay, but when we'll add dynamically, it will, this para1 will also show this red background color. Okay, so first what we will do is we'll just target this paragraph over here. Okay, so we'll use our class name property. So I'll copy from here. So I'm copying from here. Okay, so what we are doing is document.get elements by class name, and we are targeting this para, this para1 over here. Okay, so we will change that particular para1 value actually. Okay, now we'll use that particular attribute. What we want to change is class name. Okay, so here we'll use, here you can see we are getting different properties over here. So we'll use our class name equals to what value we want to set. So we want to set the value as bg color. Okay, so we want to set the class name as bg color. Here you can see we have our para1 class name, so we want to change it as bg color. Okay, so here we'll remove this and we'll just comment this out over here, and I also comment this out. Okay, so what we are doing is we are targeting that particular para1 class name over here, the first para1. Okay, because here we are mentioning the zero index, so the first class name, and here we are providing the attribute name, means we have to change, target that particular attribute, that is we are targeting the class name, and here we are giving the value. Okay, so it will override that particular value of that class name. Now I'll save it and check whether the result, whether this bg color is applied to this para1 over here or not. Okay, so when this class will be removed and bg color will be applied, this para1 line will be of background color red. Okay, so let's save it. So now here you can see we have done it correctly, because this para1, it has a background color of red. That means we have our class as pg color. Here you can see this p class, first p class has now a class of bg color, and the second has also a bg color class. Okay, so in the first case we are adding it dynamically. So by the help of this class name over here, okay, so here you can use any attribute name, okay. Suppose here if we target, suppose a tag over here, okay, like this, so 0, like this. So you can use href over here and give any change. You can change any, like any link over here, okay. Suppose here we have given an at ahref equals to google.com, like this. We have given ahref as like this, okay. So here I will write Google over here. Okay. So we have given href as google.com, and now what we want is we want to target that particular a, and what we want is we want to change the this href attribute value google.com to facebook.com. Okay. So we'll simply change it to facebook.com like this, okay. So we are changing the attribute value by the help of this dot operator, okay. So dot, then the attribute name, and then the equals to, and then the value of that attribute, okay. So let us check whether it works or not. So here we'll refresh it. So here you can see we have our Google link, and here you can see we have now our google.com, okay. So we haven't replaced our google.com with this facebook.com yet, okay. So here we'll check first what is the problem over here. So here we are targeting by class name, so we'll use our tag name like this. Now it will change this ahref as facebook.com, okay. So here you can see we are giving this link as google.com, and here we are changing it to facebook.com, okay. We are changing the href value as facebook.com, okay. So here you can see the ahref has been changed to facebook.com, okay. So you can also set the attribute by using the set attribute method, and you can also change the property of that particular attribute, okay. Now one more property is there, through which we can change the styles of a particular element, okay. So what we want is here we'll target this para over here, okay. So we'll give an id over here. Suppose you can give anything. Suppose I'm taking an id over here, so unique id. So I'm taking a random name, okay. So I'll save it, and here I will target that particular id document dot get element by id, and we'll give unique id, okay. And then what we want is we want to, here we are getting this particular third paragraph, para 3. When we'll see, we'll get the para 3 as like this, okay. So we want to change the font color, okay. So how can we change the font color dynamically, okay. So what we'll do is we'll simply target that particular element, and then we'll use dot style, okay. And what we want to change, we want to change the color. So we'll use that color property, color equals to, we want to change it to red over here, okay. So we'll simply use the value as red, okay. So what we are doing is we are changing the font color as font color to red. Now let's check. So now you can see we are changing the font color of para 3 to red in a dynamic way, okay, with the help of JavaScript, okay. So this is the method by using we can like change the color of particular element, okay. Suppose here what we want is I want to change the background color, okay. So here we can use the background color property. So it is mandatory to use style, okay. Then we have to give the property name that you want to change. Okay, so here I am giving the background color. We'll save it and refresh it. So now it also has a background color of red. Okay, so in this way you can also change the CSS of a particular element with the help of JavaScript. So these are some of the methods and properties. Okay, so we haven't covered everything. So we have covered our basic methods and properties. Okay, so more HTML DOM will cover more HTML DOM elements in the next lecture.